Over to you, Fran.
Morning, everybody. I hope you are well today. We're going to be starting in a minute, so yes, get yourself a cup of tea or get yourself all ready, and yeah, we'll start in about a minute's time.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody again. Yes, my name's Fran, so thank you very much for joining us. If you haven't met me before, yeah, I'm Fran from Hotel Res, and thank you so much for joining us today. I can see lots of us on the call, which is really lovely to see. It's a really special webinar this morning. I'm delighted to introduce you to Laura Cresswell, who's the Principal Solutions Consultant at Cvent. And we work really closely alongside Laura, really proud to work with her. And she's kindly joined us today to showcase some of Cvent's RFP Trends and Insights. We do have some time at the end for some questions. So we will be able to unmute your mics at the end so you can ask any questions, or you can pop them in the Q&A chat box if you can see that. But yeah, so Laura, whenever you're ready.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the lovely intro, Fran, and it's a pleasure to be here. So I appreciate you letting me join your webinar. Zuki, I don't know if you're still on, if you wanted to mute everyone else possibly, because there is quite a lot of feedback.
I have muted people. I'm not sure where that's coming from. Can you just give me some?
That's okay.
Hold on for me.
Do you know what? I found them and I've muted them myself.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
So I hope you don't mind. Again, thanks for being here. And let me be here today. You should be able to see my screen. Looks like a long agenda, but I promise I'm not going to be here and take your time all day today. But what I am going to talk you through today is the different types of buyers that use the Cvent Transient platform. And then we're going to get straight into some trends that we're seeing on a global scale before we look at different solutions to support the RFP cycle. Fran is then going to resume the mic and give you a bit of an overview on how Hotel Res support you guys as hoteliers through the RFP process. And then I'll be sharing some details on a Hotel Res exclusive offer that's available to you all because of your partnership with Hotel Res and because of Hotel Res's partnership with Cvent. We've allowed time for questions and answers at the end. You should see a questions and answer chat function, within the Teams platform. So please post your questions there and I will do my best to answer those at the very end of the session. So without further ado then, some of the different types of buyers that use the Cvent Transient platform. Now I should also call out, I'm referring to it as Cvent Transient. If you've been in the industry some time, you're probably more familiar with the term Lanyon. It is one and the same. So Cvent and Lanyon, we merged at the end of 2016, but Cvent Transient is what we're now referring to, the legacy Lanyon platform. So different types of buyers that work with us then. First of all, top left, we have example consortia programs that source on our platform. Typically, consortia would be those paid to participate programs, and provided that your hotel is willing to adhere to the terms and conditions met and also pay the fee, then generally speaking, you can get access to those consortia programs. Be mindful in case you are not subscribing to the Cvent Transient platform via Hotel Res. Then if you're not subscribing, then some consortia programs will not open their program to non-subscribing properties. So just something for you to be aware of if consortia business is something that you would like to work more with. If you're not subscribing, reach out to Francesca, Hannah, and the team at Hotel Res about potentially changing your subscription status. So consortia programs. Then we have some examples of travel management companies, otherwise referred to as agencies. These guys are typically sending an RFP on behalf of their end customer. And then finally, we have corporations that are directly managing their own travel program through our system. Now, even with these guys, and again, this is not an exhaustive list, this is some example logos, but even with those direct corporations, in some cases, they will actually use Cvent to do the sourcing process for them. They might then manage the negotiations, but you might find that sometimes you'll receive an RFP from Cvent, which is on behalf of a corporation. So the different types of buyers, and the good news is we are always looking to expand the different buyers that we work with. And what we're looking at here on the screen now is some examples of new logos that we acquired in the 2024 calendar year to start sourcing on our platform in the 2025 season. So hopefully some of these look familiar to you, and maybe you've even received an RFP from some of these logos here. Now, before we get on to the data trends, I did want to just remind everyone, the Cvent Transient platform is not a booking tool. So our role ultimately in the wider RFP process is to facilitate the negotiations. So ultimately our platform enables buyers, those corporations, those consortia, travel management companies that we looked at earlier, to find suppliers like the hoteliers, your good selves on the call today. And that's to negotiate a rate for business travel. But once those rates are negotiated and you take those rates and you put them typically on your CRS before they're loaded onto the GDS for booking, we don't see any of that. So when I talk about the data and the trends we're seeing on our platform in just a moment, ultimately it's the sourcing trends, the opportunities into a given market. High level stats here in terms of the 2024 calendar year. Top left, you can see that globally we had over 939,000 RFPs sent through the platform, and they were generated by over 1,900 unique programs. Now, just to call out how these numbers differ, imagine Cvent were to launch an RFP on our platform and we invited 100 hotels to participate in our program. That would be listed as 100 RFPs here in total, but it would reflect one unique travel program. Now, over on the right, you can see that over 97,000 hotels received at least one invitation to a corporate RFP in 2024. And bottom right, what we're counting is all the RFPs managed in the system, not just those that originated from Cvent that we looked at here, but also if a if a chain, a representation company has its own domain, they can also import RFPs from third-party platforms like like HRS, not Hotel Res, like HRS, Vindo, ReadyBid, and other sourcing platforms. So they can import those RFPs into their Cvent Transient instance. So this number here is showing everything, including those imported RFPs. So on to the trends then. What we're looking at here is globally how we're pacing in terms of total RFPs as of the end of March, and I can tell you now actually as of the end of June, apologies for not updating this, as of the end of June we were actually pacing still 6% behind. So we've maintained the level of RFPs there. So if we compare 2025 contract period to 2024, we're currently pacing 6% behind. From a seasonality perspective, you can see that RFPs typically start to mount up in July. August and September are the peak months, and then the RFP volume will start to trail off again. However, you can also see if we look at 2024, we will continue to receive RFPs throughout the rest of the 2025 calendar year related to the 2025 contract period. And that's because not every buyer has a calendar program year that runs from January to December. You might have noticed some RFPs will have an 18-month program, some will have a 2-year program. They're not as many, but they do exist. And also, any buyer at any point might open up a new office location that they want to negotiate a rate for. So imagine if you're a hotel in Manchester and IBM launches an office in Manchester and they've never had an office there before. Even if that is in October or November this year, they're still going to want to negotiate a rate for when their employees travel to Manchester, so they can launch their RFP at any point. So whilst in the system, you've probably noticed we've already transitioned over to the 2026 contract period. You still may receive RFPs for the remainder of this year for the 2025 contract period. So just make sure you're aware of that and checking that contract period when you receive the RFPs. Now, what we're looking at here is how the RFPs and also our buyers break down by industry vertical. So you can see here professional services, manufacturing, business services, and wholesale and retail. They typically make up 75% of our buyers that source on the platform and just over 75% of the total RFP programs. So lots of different organization types that use the system. Now here, there's been a lot of talk over the last couple of contract periods and seasons in relation to how the changes in sourcing are happening in terms of consolidation. What we're noticing is if we look at all of the different...
approaching Carlisle. If you are leaving us at Carlisle, please ensure you have everything with you. Carlisle, next stop.
Carlisle is the next stop for anyone that's on the train. But what we're going to do now is just focus back on this. So for the RFPs, if you've got a buyer that's actually sourcing in 2025 and also sourced in 2024, what we can see is actually that 45% of those buyers reduced the number of hotels they're inviting. So it is happening in some cases, but not all. As you can see, 33% remained roughly flat in their sourcing habits and 22% actually invited more hotels. So over on this side of the screen, we can see how that breaks down by industry vertical. Now, how you would interpret this as an example, if you are working with a number of organizations that fall under the construction and real estate category, then there's a potential risk there. If this trend continues with the reduction of hotels, then you want to make sure you're working on those relationships, because what our data shows is that between 2025 and 2024, 52%, so more than half of those construction RFPs invited fewer properties in 2025 than in 2024. So something to be aware of. Equally, if you're looking to grow potentially the different types of organizations that you work with, then information and communications, they actually saw quite a significant increase in terms of the number of hotels that were invited across the breadth of those RFPs. So swings and roundabouts, but something for you to be aware of if you're working with organizations within these particular verticals. Now, in case we have any properties on the call today that are interested in working with more corporations, different types of buyers, etc., on the property side, there are only actually 4 solutions that are available at hotel level. Proximity report, which we'll talk about in more detail in just a sec. RFP publisher, for those that you view that are subscribing to access the system via Hotel Res, you'll be using RFP Publisher now. Some of you may refer to it as your dashboard or your Lanyon dashboard, but that's where you receive and manage all those RFPs. And then finally, we have market leads as well. And I know there are a number of hotels within Hotel Res that are already making the most of that feature. And again, I'll explain that in more detail in just a second. So proximity reports, think of this as a proactive prospecting tool. If you want to know all of the organizations that are sourcing within a 10-mile radius of your property, the proximity report is for you. So you would use this to proactively approach those organizations. The report would tell you the company name, the office name, where they're located, because they're not always the same. It's not always an obvious relationship. The full address, and then how close they are to your property and whether or not that organization solicited or invited your property to participate in the previous RFP season. So it's a very good way for you to prospect the opportunities of different corporations that are sourcing into your market, into your direct vicinity, but are not necessarily inviting your hotel to participate in their program. So again, if you're looking to expand the number of corporations you work with and you do have a proactive sales team, then this is a great solution for you because it takes away that manual requirement for you researching the opportunity around your property. RFP Publisher, as I mentioned, this is your dashboard. So this is where you're receiving RFPs, you're responding to them, probably seeking help from Francesca, Emma, and Hannah at some points during the busier season, but ultimately being able to create your rate plans and respond more efficiently during the RFP cycle. So for those of you that are not subscribed but work with Hotel Res, but you're not currently accessing the system through a paid subscription, this is a very good option for you if you are already receiving RFPs and you want to be more efficient, because you are able to create rate plans in advance of the season to make your responses more streamlined and quicker during the peak season sourcing months. You also have access to reporting as well within the tool. So it's a great way for you to understand how you're pacing comparatively year on year, what rates you're getting accepted for, what amenities are included in those rates, etc. If you're not subscribing currently, but you're working with Hotel Res, but you're not on a paid subscription, then this is probably more what you're used to seeing when you log into the platform. So you still have access to receive and manage, respond to RFPs, but there's a lot more limitations. For instance, you don't have access to those rate plans. Reports don't exist in the non-subscribing area of the platform, but also in terms of room types, etc. If your property has unique room types that you'd like to save that sit outside those standard room types that are available within the tool, you're not able to save those. So it's much more of a manual process every time you wish to respond to an RFP. And of course, with manual data entry repeatedly, it's not as time efficient as you would hope to be in the busy RFP season. So recap here on, again, what you can and can't do as a non-subscriber working with Hotel Res versus if you have a subscription with Hotel Res as well. And Fran will talk to you in more detail in a few moments about the support that Hotel Res also provide to those subscribing properties. Now on to market leads. We spoke before about proximity reports, which is more of a proactive solution to gain access to additional accounts. Market leads is definitely a lot more reactive. Now, when buyers source on our platform, they have the ability to open up their program to unsolicited bids. And effectively what they're doing is auctioning off their business. So if they open up their program, they might decide that they will accept RFPs from hotels that they haven't invited, but those hotels meet their criteria in terms of their distance to the corporate office where they're sourcing to, and also the star rating of the property. So it is a fully qualified RFP. A hotel will not receive a market lead unless they meet the criteria that is set by the buyer. But on the hotel's side, it gives you the ability to potentially gain access to new accounts that weren't necessarily inviting you, but they were inviting potentially a competitor hotel in your vicinity. But because you qualify, you're able to bid on that bonus RFP. In the system itself, how you respond is no different to any other RFP that you were directly invited to. The only thing we would call out is that there is a need for speed, because depending on the market and the criteria set by the buyer, they might have a lot of hotels that receive these bonus market leads. So you do need to be quick to respond if this is business that's interesting for you, so that you are more likely to make the cut and be considered to gain access to that program. Now, in terms of properties and recommendations for market leads, there are various. So what I've done here is ultimately show by country or by region, by groups of countries, the number of programs that are being released, whether it's 8 to 10 programs allowing market leads, 11 to 20 or 21 to 43 on the different cities. So as an example, how you'd interpret this, if we have any properties tuned in from Australia, thank you for staying late, first of all. But if you're in Australia and you're based in Brisbane, Melbourne and Sydney, very strong opportunities for you based on market leads. Equally, if you're in Italy or Spain, Rome, Barcelona, Florence, Madrid, these are all good locations for you as far as market leads concerned. UK and Ireland, we have multiple locations here listed. So again, we will be sharing this presentation after the call, so don't worry if you haven't managed to spot your city, or if you want to know, by all means, reach out to Fran and Hannah at Hotel Res, and we can always share the opportunity as far as market leads is concerned for your specific region. Now, I would, in case we do have any people on the call today that aren't subscribing via Hotel Res, but they are on the HO chain code, then I wanted to just make clear some upcoming changes that are happening within the platform that will impact you. So on the user front, we are making some changes to the non-subscribing area of the platform. So to be clear, if you're already subscribed and you pay your subscription via Hotel Res, this will not affect you. But if you are on the HO chain code but not paying for a subscription to your RFPs, this will impact you. So what are we doing? In August 2025, we will be moving the non-subscribing area of the platform to the new user experience. And when we do this, some things are going to impact the users. First and foremost, we're removing NAM users from the platform. So if you had a NAM user that was created by a buyer that enabled you to access more than one property, that's no longer in existence. And we've rolled that back already as of the end of January. The current phase we're on, phase 2, is actually going to be completed now by the end of July, but that's where we're looking at property level users that currently have access to more than one property in the non-subscribing area of the platform. We're rolling that back, so every property level user will have access to only one property. If you needed access to additional properties, you would need a separate login per property. And the third phase, which will be completed by end of August, is to look at the properties that are in the non-subscribing area of the platform and make sure that there is only one user attributed to each of those properties. So ultimately, the changes will impact users only. You'll still be able to use the platform, but you will have less user access than you may have currently. Now I'm going to hand over to Fran, and she's going to walk you through the amazing support that the team at Hotel Res provide you if you're subscribing.
Thank you, Laura. Yes, yeah, we just thought it would be prudent, really, to explain and help you understand how Hotel Res can support you and the team during the 2026 RFP season. We know it's a crazy season, and there's a lot of work that everybody has to do to ensure that they get as much business as possible. So if you do already use Cvent via Hotel Res Domain, you'll know that the support that the demand team provide for you. But if you aren't using that, or if you're new, then here are just a few points to note, really. So Hotel Res, Hannah, I, Emma, Tom, we're kind of like your first line of support really for completing RFPs if you work within that Hotel Res domain. So if you get stuck or you're not sure on how you to complete a bid, or you have any questions on a bid, you can just come to the demand team and we will help you. We can hop on a quick call if easier. We can have a look at your bids for you. We often know sort of the tips and tricks on how to complete it. So instead of having to send a sort of support query through to Lanyon Support directly and wait for their response, you can just message Hannah and I, and we can help jump on and see, because we can see your bids if you're in the Hotel Res domain. So if you're non-subscribing, we can't see your bids and therefore we're not able to help you. So it's really important that when you're working with us that we can see your bids and we can help you complete them, and get them back for those acceptances. Your property profile information is all updated for you. So our fantastic support team do that via your Res to Market content. So you don't have to update your property profile in Cvent over and over again. It's just done in one fell swoop with our team. If you have any new staff or any staff that need a refresher on how to use Cvent, obviously there's the new UX experience out. So it'll be a different season this season. So yeah, you might need some additional support in getting those bids completed. But yeah, again, we can create and have dedicated training sessions for you if needed. Again, yeah, we can hop on, see your bids and help you complete them. Once you've been accepted, our rates loading team will automatically load the rates for you. So the request gets sent to them. You don't need to do it yourself. We will get that done for you. Laura mentioned it earlier as well. So we can help build bids in Cvent that have come via alternative platforms, which will help you then respond via Cvent and keep all your bids in one place. So it's a great way to just sort of see exactly where you're at with all your opportunities, because they're all in Cvent for you, and then we can respond for those in the alternative platforms on your behalf. But you can keep everything in one place and track it. We can pull reports for you. We can therefore track your progress. We can help strategize with you on any opportunities that you're missing so far. We do a lot of work behind the scenes to check some opportunities, any that you're missing. We can recommend RFPs for you to participate in. We can help ensure deadlines are met. We can chase up those decisions with those RFP managers on your behalf as well. So we do work quite closely with them, and we do have a good relationship with those travel managers. So we can often get a bit of a quicker response to any queries you may have, or we may already know the answer for you, and help speed up that process of completing those bids. And finally, again, Laura just mentioned it on that previous slide, but if you're working within the Hotel Res domain, you will have that multi-user capability. So if you look after more than one property, then you can still have that login for all of your properties. Obviously, we want people to be able to have it most seamless experience when completing their bids. So it's really important to make note of that, especially if you are looking after more than one property. There is a lot of support that Hotel Res can offer you, during the season. We know it's stressful. That's what we're here to help with. So please do reach out to us if you have any questions, or if you're not using Cvent at the minute and you want to sort of have a look into that, reach out to the demand team. You know where we are. So yeah, please do ask us if you do have any questions at all. And that's it from me.
Thank you, Fran. And yeah, and I can honestly say, because I look after a lot of the rep companies, and definitely feedback from independent hotels that work with Hotel Res is that there's the support that they offer is absolutely fantastic. So you're definitely in good hands. Now, final thought for me before we launch into questions and answers is on a promotion. Because of that special relationship that Hotel Res have with Cvent, what we're extending is a promotion on those additional solutions. So if you're working with Hotel Res directly already, you'll have access to RFP Publisher. So that's the platform again where you're receiving and you're managing your RFPs. But we have a special promotion on those ancillary solutions that I talked about earlier, market leads and proximity reports, that come as separate subscriptions. Now, first and foremost is market leads. We have an offer where normally the rate is $560 for 12 months. What we're offering Hotel Res partners is the ability to subscribe to market leads for a discounted rate of $350, and you'll get 3 months free. Now, this offer is valid if the contract's signed by 12th of September. So you would need to register your interest or make your interest clear to Francesca, Hannah, and the gang at Hotel Res, and then Hotel Res will share with me a list of hotels that are interested in participating. So what will happen, your subscription would start as of the 1st of October 2025, and it would run until the end of December 2026. So once again, you're getting 3 months free for the market leads, and instead of paying $560, you would be paying $350. So significant saving there. So that's the first offer on market leads, and a great time to do it. As we saw before, the RFP season is kicking off now. RFP volume is going to mount. So if this is something that's interesting for you and you want to get access to additional corporate programs, now is the time to do it. The second offer relates to proximity reports. Now, a standard proximity report as a one-time pull is $1,950. Hotel Res have a discounted rate again if you sign up by the 12th of September. You can sign up before, but the deadline is by the 12th of September. You can get that report for $1,200. So again, quite a significant saving there of $750 for that report if you're looking to prospect and understand the corporation sourcing within the vicinity of your property. And the third offer then combines those two. So the proximity reports and the market leads, we have a bundle offer, and that would be $1,400, saving you $1,110. So really good savings there, all because of the relationship that you have as hoteliers with Hotel Res. So you have Hotel Res to thank for that offer. So just to reiterate the deals of the promotion, sign up, register your interest via the demand@hotelres.com email by the 12th of September, and then Fran and Hannah will let me know, and then what we'll do is we'll start those services by the 1st of October. So that's the offer. And again, it is exclusive to Hotel Res. It's not available anywhere else. And if you were to approach Cvent directly, I guarantee the cost would be higher. So it's definitely worth you signing up if you're interested via Hotel Res. And we are now on to questions and answers. I can see one there already in the question and answer from Sarah Louise. I think I may have answered your question already, Sarah, about proximity reports. If you haven't subscribed to proximity reports, then you won't have access within the tool to them. So that is an added subscription. If you were interested, there is the offer that we've just explained, and that would be available to you.
Yeah, and that is per hotel, isn't it?
It is per property.
In there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is there any other questions, anybody? I think you might be able to unmute yourselves if you do have a question that you want to ask, or yeah, pop in the Q&A box. Let's see if we've got one here. How can we find out the level? Brian, how can we find out the level we are on at property level for the services we have signed up for? If you're working within
thing. Oh, go on. You say.
Oh, no, you go. I
was going to say the easier thing, Brian, it would be just only because how you've come through. If you let us know the hotel you're with, then Hotel Res can see if you're subscribed within their domain or not. The way your names come up, Brian, it doesn't say what hotel you're with or your surname, so it's not easy to see just by that. But if you let us know your hotel, Hotel Res will be able to see if you're in their subscribing domain.
Okay, thank you, Brian. We'll have a look for you after this call, and then we'll be in touch regarding the Fredericks, if that's all right. I've got your email, so I'll drop you a message. See if there's another one. Is there in the Q&A? It's not loading for me now. It's having a think.
I've got a couple. That's okay. So from Elzbieta, what is the best way to follow up with any market leads received by the property? So for the market leads, great question, Elzbieta. They are bonus RFPs. So if you're receiving market leads, and I'm assuming you're subscribed and you're able to see who they're from, the buyers have expressed in the past that they don't want to be followed up with by the hotel. So as long as you've responded and you've responded by the deadline, then that's all you need to do. As I mentioned earlier, the best practice I can offer and advise for hotels that are subscribing to market leads is do respond quickly, because imagine an RFP, a program gets opened up in London, and the buyer might set their catchment area to 10 miles. And it's a 4-star property. There could be a lot of hotels that are suddenly eligible for those market leads within that radius. And so if you're not one of the first to respond, the reality is you're less likely to be considered. So once you have responded, then wait for the buyer. If you are going to be in with the chance, then they will let you know. But what I wouldn't do is, once you have submitted your bid, is to chase up, because they'll have their workload that they're going through, and again, if you're one of the first, you'll be more likely to be in with that chance. Susanna Kenworthy asked, if we sign up for market leads, can we start from the 1st of September? Happy for them to sign up earlier, Fran. That is certainly possible. Yeah, if you get in touch. For now, we'll keep the process that you still get in touch with the demand team, and so that they can coordinate, and we can potentially do earlier start dates if properties are ready for sure. We wanted to allow until the 12th of September to give people maximum time to register following the call, but by all means we can have earlier start dates and stage those if possible. So that's possible for you, Susanna. Anyone else? I think that's it. We might have something in the chat now. Okay, so I'm not sure if this is a question from Claude. Cloda is on a basic offer plan with 30-minute meetings.
Oh, I think that's a note take.
No. Yeah. Okay. Apologies. Ignore me. Okay.
Dublin.
Last year received no production framework. Please tell me. So the question was, Dublin city centre, there's a 3-star property. They didn't receive any production from the 8 market leads. I'm curious that I think it's Phelan that asked that question. Did you get accepted into 8 market leads and then not get production, or did you receive 8 market leads and then what was the outcome? So 2 leads you got accepted into, if I've understood that. Okay, so just for the benefit of other people on the call, if you haven't seen the if you don't have access to see the chat questions, the question was, there's a property in Dublin that's a 3-star property. They received 8 market leads, but they didn't get production. The follow-up question was that it was actually 2 leads. Now, Phelan, you've mentioned they were approved, but approved as a status doesn't mean that you're accepted into the program. So when you say approved, were you actually accepted into the program, or did the bid just get to approve stage? Because approved doesn't mean it was accepted.
I think put accepted.
They were accepted. Okay. Okay, and unfortunately that's a way, and it could. And so one of the other questions was, how many 3-star properties do you have in Dublin, or is market leads really for 4-star properties? So the market leads, when it is the buyer that sets the criteria. So if they might set 3 and 4-star properties, and provided you're within one of those, you'll be able to bid on it. And also if you meet the criteria in terms of distance. As far as production is concerned, and this would be the case if you were accepted into a program that you were directly invited to, some programs don't produce, and some programs will have properties in the program that unfortunately they don't necessarily produce that, but they want to have more inventory available, especially if there's certain events, fairs coming up within those markets, and they want to make sure that they have available inventory regardless. Production, unfortunately, is nothing that is not something we can assist with, because we are only there to facilitate the initial meeting in the first place. What I would suggest is, if you've been accepted into any programs, then in the downside of the season, when you're not in the height of the season receiving RFPs, is work with your contacts at those corporations. Still continue to develop the relationships, because that's where the hotels, this is your strongest point, right? Is the relationships that you build with those buyers. Just because the facilitating of the RFP is happening on a platform doesn't mean that the relationships side goes away. So I would make sure you're nurturing those relationships in the downturn. Find out, is there any reason, what can we do differently to get more production from you, because we've been accepted into your program. But yeah, unfortunately there are programs that will get hotels in, and they accept them into the programs, but you don't see the production right away. But I would, as I said, work on those relationships in the down season so that you're building on those. Okay, someone's asked about the demand for RFPs for 5-star properties or luxury properties within UAE. It's not data that I have readily available. Certainly something that I can look up with Fran, and Fran, you can share that with the person that asked, Catherine, that asked that, and share that after the fact, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, any questions like that, you can always pop through to the demand@hotelres.com email address, and we can get that information for you, or try to, if we don't have it, definitely.
And one more question, I think, if we've still got time for it. Phelim again asked Phelim from Ireland, I believe, asked if we have an office. I don't know if you meant Cvent or if you meant Hotel Res, if there's an office covering Dublin or England and Ireland. Cvent have an office, a UK headquarters in London, and we do go to Dublin for seminars, whether it's related to business travel or meetings and events. We do one seminar there at least a year. I don't know if Hotel Res have an office in Dublin or Ireland or covering that region.
We don't have an office in Dublin at the minute, no. But if you want to come to our office in the UK, then you are welcome to. Obviously, there's lots of questions. So if there's any that you can think of after the call as well, drop them to the demand, and then if it's something that Laura can help with, then we can always ping it over to Laura to have a look at, definitely. But I appreciate we're sort of running out of time now. But thank you, Laura. That was absolutely brilliant. As always, we do really appreciate your support. We've got a Cvent training call tomorrow morning for everybody who's on it, who wants to learn a bit about how to complete the new UX, the bids in the new UX. That's with Hannah tomorrow morning. So have a look out for the invite for that. And like I said, any questions off the back of this, drop them into the demand email, and Laura and I will be able to help you with those.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Fran, Hannah, Zuki. Much appreciated. For everyone else on the call today, and thank you for your questions. Really appreciate that. And as Fran said, if you have any other questions, direct them to the demand team, and I'm happy to help.
Great. Thank you, Laura, and thank you everybody for joining. We appreciate your time.
Have a good day.
Thanks ever so much. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.